Boys and girls, this is a book about Thailand, and it is called Som See and the Magic Elephant. Now remember, they think of elephants very highly. Look at the beautiful pictures. Oh, the artist did a very beautiful job with these. And here we go. As soon as she awoke, Som See dressed quickly, then hurried to make Panang's sweet tea. Panang means great aunt, had promised to take Som See to the village to participate in the harvest festival that morning. Before they departed, the old woman and her niece went into the garden to the spirit house to place offerings of incense and flowers to ensure the travelers a safe journey. I remember when I was your age and lived in the city, Panang said, as they walked along the dirt road. There was a splendid festival to celebrate the king's birthday. He rode through the streets on the back of a great white elephant, Chang. Chang was the only white elephant we had ever seen. He had carried the king into many successful battles and was kept deep in the rainforest and brought forth only on special occasions. Whenever he went, chattering and shrieking monkeys followed him. Chang was magnificent. It was said that to touch his trunk gave a person good luck. Did you ever touch Chang's trunk? Asked Som See, and have good luck? Yes, the old woman replied, but that was a long time ago. I fear such luck doesn't last a lifetime. Som See could see that Panang was troubled, but before she had time to ask more questions, they arrived at the village. The parade had already started, and Som See and Panang stood at the side of the street to enjoy the drummers and dancers. At dusk, they attended the shadow puppet theater. When the play was over, Som See and Panang returned home. Thank you, Panang, the girl exclaimed. Today was wonderful. The old woman smiled, exhausted from the day's events, and retired early to her sleeping hammock. As the days passed, Panang grew weak and spent much of her time in her hammock. One afternoon, as Som See sat drowsily fanning her, Panang said, I will soon leave on a journey from which I will not return to the family. When will you go? Som See asked, but Panang did not answer. Som See continued to wave the fan back and forth until she thought the old woman was asleep. She was about to move away when her great aunt muffled whisper startled her. If only I could see Chang one more time, I know my good fortune would be would be renewed and my journey would be peaceful. Then she drifted off to sleep. Som See walked slowly through the garden at the back of the house. What could she do to help Panang as she prepared for her journey? Som See looked toward the rainforest and wondered if Chang might still be there. But how could she find him and bring him back? Som See noticed a band of monkeys moving through the trees in a noisy game of tag. She remembered Panang's story and thought they might know where she could find the white elephant. She followed the monkeys under the canopy of leaves for several minutes, but suddenly the monkeys scrambled through the branches and disappeared. Som See stopped and looked around. She was deep within the rainforest and quite lost. Som See walked in one direction, then another, but there were so many trees that she could not tell where she was. When she came to a stream, she sat on a stone at the water's edge and began to cry. With a tremendous splash, a magnificent fish appeared. "What's the matter, little one?" Do you see the fish? "Why are you adding your salty tears to my stream?" "I followed the monkeys in my search for Chang," she said, "and now I'm lost." The fish said, "I am Fan Pa, the rain fish. Many years ago, a young king built a palace in the middle of this rainforest. The palace was in honor of his white elephant who had been so gallant in battle." "Chang," Som See said, "you must find the ruins of the palace," Fan Pa instructed, "and there you will find the elephant." Som See continued into the forest. She walked until her legs ached and she believed she could go no farther. Finally, the trees began to thin and she came upon a clearing. In the center stood a stone tower with a staircase of crumbling brick. Fascinated, Som See carefully climbed the broken stairs. Remember what a temple is called? It's called a wat. At the top of the tower was a small chamber with a heavy stone door that stood slightly open. Som See squeezed through the doorway and looked around. She saw a brass bell in a small niche in the wall and lifted it down. Although the bell must have been sitting on the ledge for years, it shone and sparkled as if it were new. As Som See carried the bell into the sunlight, the clapper struck the side, making a high-pitched tone. Immediately, Som See heard the crackling of underbrush as something large and heavy moved toward her. A wondrous white elephant covered with a shimmering cloth adorned with jewels stepped out of the forest. "You have summoned me with the king's bell," he said. "I am here to do your bidding." The elephant was magnificent, just as Panang had said. Som See was in so awe of him that at first she could not speak. Finally, in a halting voice, she explained her great aunt's request. Without another word, the huge beast raised his long trunk, wrapped it around Som See, and lifted her onto his back. When he turned and began to walk through the jungle. They passed Fan Pa in his stream and the chattering monkeys in the trees. Soon they approached the edge of the forest, and Som See could see the houses and the rice fields. Chang walked silently in the long grass and approached Som See's house from behind. Panang was still dozing in her hammock, but as Chang approached, she awoke. The elephant stood beside the porch and stretched his trunk toward her. Panang lifted her hand and touched it. Then, smiling, she sank back into the hammock and sighed deeply. "She is ready for her journey now," Chang said. The mighty elephant lifted Som See gently to the ground. Then he turned and disappeared in the trees. Som See placed the bell in the spirit house as an offering for her great aunt's safe journey. In the morning, when Som See awoke, she immediately went to her great aunt's sleeping hammock, but it was empty. Through the doorway, the little girl saw her family sitting silently in the middle of the main room. Neighbors were there with gifts of food. Her mother beckoned to her to join them. "Your Panang has begun a great journey," her mother said. "I know Panang's journey will be peaceful," Som See said to herself. Chang has again shared his good fortune with her. Now, boys and girls, what do you think happened to the great aunt? She died. And that is the way they believe in the Buddhist faith, that when a person dies, they are going on a long journey. That's not what we believe, is it? What we believe is that when we die, we go immediately to heaven. But that's the difference in their faith and our faith. I hope you enjoyed this story from Thailand, Som See and the Magic Elephant.